What's going on? It's your boy CJ Goodfella back with the Boxing Clinic one time for the one time. Back talking that YTBC-ish. And today we bringing the official Kell Brook versus Errol Spence Jr. breakdown video and prediction video. And, for Kell Brook, it's been a long time coming to getting a fight of this magnitude, man. Pulling out versus Devin Alexander like 2 or 3 times. Devin pulling out once. And then Sean Porter getting an opportunity to take the belt from Devin Alexander to him, beating Sean Porter, garnishing some viewerships and some fans over there in the U.S. And then, getting stabbed in the leg and people turning their back on him again, putting out the Diego Chavez fight, failed negotiations with Brandon Rios and Timothy Bradley. A lot of ups and downs in Kell Brook's career, fighting Gennady Golovkin and showing that it wasn't a money grab of a fight. It was basically, he wanted to show the world his class and that he was a thoroughbred, and I think he proved that. Some people look at it that he quit, but he had a broken orbital bone. Those same people who, blaming him for, he could have kept going, he quit. The same people who ain't never took a punch, or played a sport and been injured, or been through any type of adversity similar to what he had been through. And then you talk about Errol Spence, a guy, who's been, dubbed, king of the division before, he's truly, fought his way up or paid his dues to sit on the throne. He's a gifted kid. He had to work his way up on Fox Sports 1. Nobody gave him a shot. Even if he was in the top 15, top 10, nobody gave him that Gennaro Hernandez, Floyd Mayweather S-type shot. Nobody, gave him opportunity, to be great. And, one thing about Earl, if he does win this fight, will he give other fighters, that remind him of him or in a similar position that's in the top 15, top 10, that's literally calling him out, if they feel they're ready, will he give them that chance, Keith cried about it. Keith Thurman cried about it for years after beating, I think it was Herberto Soto, when it was supposed to be Madonna fighting, and he called Floyd Mayweather out. Everybody said it was crazy, and Floyd did give him that shot, and Keith was in the same position to get Errol Spence that shot to be great and show how his greatness. He didn't give him that shot, so it'll be interesting to see if Errol Spence wins, and will he give that young fighter the shot that nobody would give him, or will he continue the cycle of, you have to earn your way up the hard way. It's interesting. Earl is a tough fighter. If you haven't seen Errol Spence fight, or you're not familiar with him fighting, or you already know, he's a aggressive style fighter. He lost in the Olympics, a close fight. He got a great reputation for great body punching, being aggressive, coming straight down the pipe, tenacious type, aggressive type fighter, and he's one of the best out there. As far as cutting the ring off and beating the body up, I think him and Gennady Golovkin are 1A, 1B at when it comes to cutting the ring off, and very might well be 1A, 1B or 1-2 at body punching. Earl is a little bit more athletic, a lot more athletic than Gennady Golovkin. Golovkin is just more polished. You expect that. He's 35, Olympic silver medalist. Errol Spence, 26, 27, 28, just really starting to hit the stretch of his prime, or about to. And he's a great body puncher, aggressive fighter, but he gets hit. And that's where Kell Brook comes in. Kell Brook is a special fighter as well. For so long, we wanted to see what this special case shit was about in America. We never really got a chance to see it. When we finally did see it versus Sean Porter, it was very special. And he's going to face some of the daunting tests. I'm going to say tests because I think if he lasts long enough, he's going to, and win the fight, he's going to overcome a lot of tests from Errol Spence. And vice versa, Errol Spence is going to overcome a lot of tests versus Kell Brook as well. And this is going to be a battle of nutrition. But for Kell, he's going to see a similar fighter that he did with Sean Porter, a guy who thought he was physically stronger than Kell Brook. A guy thought he was going to be able to punk Kell Brook and make him seem to be the little punani pussy that most people thought he was for putting out the fights. And show him that he's physically more stronger, dominant than than Kell Brook. They're all the same questions that Sean Porter tried to, check down his list. Errol Spence is going to try to prove it in a very similar fashion. Errol Spence is more clean, with his attack and with his, offense and more polished than, I won't say more polished. He's just more cleaner at doing it. And I think he was going to get more style points than Sean Porter did in that fight. But it's going to be difficult. Kell Brook is a big welterweight, strong welterweight, and he proved that versus Gennady Golovkin. He proved it versus Sean Porter. He untamed Sean Porter on the inside, and people say he doesn't have any inside game. He's able to hold a maneuver and hold his own on the inside enough to overcome Errol Spence. And if he's physically stronger than Errol Spence on the inside, I think Errol's in a lot of trouble. If he's able to grab and tame Errol like he did Sean, which is people are not a fan of holding, but when it comes down to it, you get injured or hurt, you need to hold to buy some time. Fans want to ridicule you or criticize you for that, and that's funny. But it is what it is. Kell's a good puncher. World class puncher, world class hand speed. I won't say he's the fastest hand speed in the world, but it's world class. His power is world class at welterweight. And his footwork is decent. A lot of people clamor that his footwork was very good versus Golovkin. It just doesn't look as natural as a Floyd or a Bernard or a Rigondeaux or Lomachenko, but it's good enough. And to get down to the specifics of the fight, for Errol, it's going to be important to come out hot, I guess. Coming overseas, some people start out cold because of the travel. He got there 2 weeks in advance, so hopefully that's not an issue. It's to come out hot, Test test Kell's eye, his orbital bone, as nasty as it may sound. Test his test the body and see if he has any problem or any weight drainage, or does he have the energy or the capacity to still operate at 147. I think that's important. Start off fast, come downhill, be cautious, come behind the jab, use your footwork as your best head movement to put you in position to be successful, and see if you can end this fight early enough. It's no point coming out filling it out because you didn't approach the first 20 or whatever, how many fights he fought that way. You approach these fights like you approach each and every other fight, even though this might be a step up to in another level, because there's levels to this shit, as Meek Mills would say, but still take the same approach. You don't want to change your approach because you think this guy is a better grade or he's a better fighter than the rest of the fighters. You approach the fight the same way, and you leave nothing else to chance, or you don't go back and look if you get robbed and say, oh man, if I would have started this fight off like I started off versus Algieri, it wouldn't have been an issue. I probably could have won. You don't want to lift that ifs, ands, buts, or whatever about it. I think coming down the pipe, using his legs is his best head movement, as his trainer Derek James would say, because he doesn't move his head, because move your head can put you out of position sometimes. They use the feet to move the head, and that comes straight out the trainer's mouth. I think use the jab, test Kell Brook's eye and body, head to body movement, and try to catch him coming out cold, because we know he's probably having trouble cutting weight now. And move from there. You want to set a great pace to try to get him out of there, because you don't want to let a chance to go to the cards. And for Kell Brook, it's pretty much about weathering the storm early and taking this young fighter who I don't think has been 12 rounds before, or not that many times, and taking him to the deep rounds, and then unloading the motherfucking flatbed truck on his ass, unloading the van on his ass, and giving him that work. I think it's going to be important for Kell just to survive early. When Errol comes in, hold him, show him your physical strength, use the jab, and try to hold your ground enough. Don't try to run around and water around the ring, and give this kid momentum, because when a rock comes down the hill, it's hard to stop when he gets the momentum. And if you let this kid get the rolling on your ass, it's going to be an issue. I think it's going to be important once the pace calms down, if Kell gets that far, to use the jab 1-2 like you did with Sean Porter. This kid doesn't move his head. Use his feet as back head movement. 1-2, and then mix in that hook like you did. And I think the uppercut is going to be an important punch for Kell Brook as well. And I think to look for that as well. I'm gonna go ahead and go on a limb. I know I already did a little unofficial prediction. A lot of people are going to ridicule me for this or criticize me or whatever you want to do. I'm picking Kell Brook by 11th round stoppage. I think the uppercut is going to be I think it's going to do it. Along with the 1-2 is going to be the table setter, or the right hook or the left hook, or one of them damn hooks for Kell Brook. But I think the uppercut is going to be a key punch, and I think him drowning Errol late in rounds, and Errol's going to get tired and not be able to take the punches.